Okay, so yesterday we did a football club history video on Oldham Athletic Football Club. Today we're looking at Aldershot Town Football Club, and the year 1992 is crucial for both clubs because Oldham go on to become a Premier League founding member in 1992. Aldershot Town are founded in 1992, and let's have a look at reasons why they come into existence. So in 1992, it's a seismic moment for the English game. The Premier League is founded for the 92-93 season. There is a breakdown in the relationship between the Football League and 16 clubs. It would later become 22 clubs when the Premier League is founded because a few more clubs decide to join this new league where there's the untold riches of Sky TV. Now, at the other end of the footballing pyramid, in Division 4, Aldershot Football Club go bust. They're thrown out the league by the Football League at the end of the 91-92 season. And as they're thrown out the league, Aldershot Town rises from the ashes of Aldershot and is the new club in the town. Now, they move straight into the recreation ground, which is the home ground to this day. Currently has a capacity of 7,100. You can see it literally from Aldershot train station. It's very similar to what I would describe the Kassam in Oxford. It only has 3 stands. It's only a 3-standard stadium, from what I can remember. Now, Aldershot Town are not allowed to automatically replace Aldershot in the Football League because it doesn't work like that, and you can argue the pros and cons of that. We've seen that with other clubs like Bury as well, with what happened with them in 2019. The new club has to start in the non-league pyramid, and they had to start playing in the Isthmian League system. Now, they work their way through the non-league system to get promotion to the Football League in 2008 under the management of Gary Waddock. They finally make it back to where Aldershot used to be, which is now League 2, the old Division 4. They would spend only 5 seasons as a Football League club, however. All spent in League 2, although the high point was making the 2010 playoffs. 2013 is the year of worry because they get relegated from the Football League and enter administration at this time. Now, bit of context of the economics of the 2010s, and I remember this very, very vividly because this is when, as a teenager, I got my first proper job. The financial crash on the New York Stock Exchange that spread around the world that led to banking collapses and mortgage companies going bust. This is at the time they've just entered the Football League, okay? And the financial crash does have an impact on people's spending and businesses and businessmen and women who own football clubs. What also happens in this period is Setanta goes bust as a broadcaster. And that does have a knock-on impact in both English and Scottish football, although more so in Scotland than England. And so these are events that are happening that are outside of club control. Now, this is the Setanta collapse, I think, does have a little part to play because the TV deal for the lower leagues and the non-league is not great. And I've discussed that before. There's too much imbalance with the Premier League over the other leagues. The TV deal is not properly balanced. And when you lose one of the broadcasters from said TV deal, that causes problems because the remaining broadcasters have to renegotiate a new one. And that is something that's going on in the background. So they enter administration. There's a great concern in the town of Aldershot that the second football club that the town has ever had at a professional level is going to disappear. Thankfully, they don't. They do come out of administration. They do survive. They actually make the National League playoffs in 2017 and 2018. As of recording right now, on the 23rd of April 2025, they are a average mid-table side. They've got stuck in that rut where they're not going to get relegated, but they're not good enough to get promoted or compete for promotion places. They're sort of mid-table, and that's their ceiling at the moment. Now, there's nothing to suggest that next season they might not go on a great run, have a fantastic season, and get back to the promised land of the Football League, and there's nothing to suggest that, hey, they have a terrible season, it all goes horribly wrong and they get relegated. But at the moment, their ceiling is mid-table National League, which is a shame because it would be great to see Aldershot Town back in the Football League. They are one of my local clubs to where I live. It won't take me too long to actually get to Aldershot to watch a game. I have actually got friends who are Aldershot Town fans, so I do have that kind of relationship with the club where a couple of my good friends are Aldershot Town fans and they do go to games regularly and they're part of the club's fan base. So it is an interesting one that they've only spent the 5 seasons in the Football League. It's a shame that they couldn't establish themselves more in the Football League, but then economics counted against them. Now, the records are very interesting because both their appearance record and their goals record were all set in their non-league days. So Jason Chewins has the appearance record of 489. He set that between 94 and 2004 in a 10-year spell at the club. The goals record is held by Mark Butler with 155 between 92 and 98, again while they're in the non-league system. I do think the goals record may disappear. The appearance record, unless you get a very dominant goalkeeper or a one club kind of player, which is very rare these days, I would hazard a guess that the appearance record that Jason Chewins holds will probably stand for a very, very long time, if never get broken at all, with how the modern game works, with player movement and players not spending their entire careers, for the most part, at clubs. Although it's a handful of players still do that. The majority of players now will not stay their entire career at one club. Their honours. Now, what is interesting is they are in the FA Trophy final this season. That match is yet to be played as of recording of this video, so they could actually have a piece of silverware in their trophy cabinet come the end of the season. We just don't know yet. The FA Cup, the season they get relegated back to the non-league in the 2012-2013 season, they make the fourth round of the FA Cup. The League Cup, they made the fourth round in the 2011-2012 season, so the season prior. The EFL Trophy, they've only ever made the second round, which I find very interesting as a Football League side in League 1 and League 2. The 2009-2010 season, the 2010-2011 season, so the year they actually make the playoffs in League 2, they make the second round of the EFL Trophy. And as I say, they are currently in the FA Trophy final. We haven't got a result there yet, so we've got to watch and see when that game is played, if Aldershot Town actually win something or if they become runners-up. Now, let's talk about their rivals, because two of their three rivals also have issues financially off the field. So Farnborough, formerly Farnborough Town, a reformed Farnborough Town, currently Farnborough, big rival, just up the road. And again, it doesn't take long for me to get to Farnborough from where I live either. It's actually closer to where I live, and it's not too far from Farnborough North train station. And in the Cove area of Farnborough, I've actually been to their ground a few times, and one of my friends was a member of the old Farnborough Town as a member, so I used to play snooker in their clubhouse actually back in the day. Woking, I went to school with a Woking fan, which is weird because there's not many of them around. They're big rivals, and they're one place above them in the National League as of recording this video. And Reading, the old Aldershot Town had a big rivalry with Reading Football Club back in the days of the lower divisions in the Football League. Now, Reading, on their trajectory, obviously have been in the Premier League. Currently they have major ownership and financial issues, and they could actually cease to be a club as soon as 2 weeks' time. We don't know what's going on with Reading, but they are the biggest rivals of Aldershot Town locally. As I say, Farnborough and Reading have had their financial difficulties in recent years. Reading right now, and Farnborough have had to reform and still play at the same stadium, but they've had to reform, which is, again, it's damaged that rivalry because they don't regularly compete against each other now. They were both in the same league at one point in the National League, and now Farnborough, the league below, in National League South, and so the only time Aldershot really get to play a local rival is when they play Woking home and away in the regular season. And what is interesting is they're one place apart in the league table. They're both average mid-table non-league sides. So there we go. There's a brief history of Aldershot Town, and it's a very short history since they've only been a club since 1992. I can look at the old Aldershot Football Club and what happened there with the collapse and their expulsion from the Football League. That, again, very similar to Wimbledon or Rushden and Diamonds, for example, or the Old Bury, does deserve its own separate video. It does deserve its own separate video because Aldershot Town is technically a different club to Aldershot. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Place your thoughts in the comments section below, and I'll have some more football club history videos and more content on a variety of sports for you all very, very soon.